Howdy folks, welcome back to Boonedockery. I got a couple questions that came up on my comments section of the YouTube channel, and one of which I think I'm going to address today. The question was, can you use twigs or other fuels with your solid fuel stove? The answer is, just wait and see. I'm gonna go ahead and ground my pack. We'll get things started. We'll see you in just a few. The question was, can you use a solid fuel stove as a twig stove? And the answer is yes. I'm going to show you a few techniques to where you can use your solid fuel stove as a twig stove, as a charcoal grill, or even an alcohol stove. The first technique I'm going to share with you is how to use your solid fuel stove as an alcohol stove. The second technique I'm going to show you is how to use your solid fuel stove as a charcoal grill. The last technique I'm going to share with you is how to use your solid fuel stove as a twig stove. I'm going to be demonstrating how to use your solid fuel stove as an alcohol stove. And since solid fuel stoves come in different shapes and sizes, I'm going to be using two different styles to show you how it's done. Using the solid fuel stove as an alcohol stove is incredibly easy. Just open it up, set it up on its side, put the solid fuel stove in, right up beside it. Balance your stove on top. And it can be used just like a standard alcohol stove. Using the larger version, it provides a little more stability. As you put your alcohol stove in, you can close the stove up around it to create greater stability. Light the burner, balance the pot on top, and that's all there is to it. The next technique requires a little excavating. So I have my folding trowel, and what you need to do is you need to look at the width of your stove. And once you have the width of your stove, you are going to essentially dig a trench. Doesn't have to be real deep, just enough to give you enough fuel to be able to cook whatever it is you need to cook. And it doesn't have to be real long. Essentially just a little hole so your stove can fit right over the top of it. right like that. To do this technique, you essentially make a miniature fire. So you have miniature versions of your primary tinder, secondary tinder, and fuel. I'm going to use one of my my Vaseline homemade fire starters. Put it right in there. And you build this fire exactly the way you would a regular campfire. We're going to go ahead and let this burn down just a little bit. We're going to add some of the actual fuel, the larger sticks. And once we have a little bit of a decent fire going here, I'm going to bring you back and I'm going to show you how to employ the stove. Now that we have a nice little fire going, I can go ahead and put the stove in place. Now you can load this stove just like normal, feeding your fuel right in through either one of the openings that are underneath of it. Set your cook pot right there. Continue feeding the fuel until you're ready to go. You may not be able to tell through the smoke, but we are at a rolling boil in that pot. So yes, a solid fuel stove can be used as a twig stove. The twig stove technique took a little excavating skills. This technique is going to require a little engineering skills. You're going to need to get one of these cheapo little grates that you use for your grill. I got this from the dollar store. Believe it or not, it was $2 for $1. You will also need to have some type of snips to cut it with. Your solid fuel stove to measure with, and a tent stake. You'll find out why in just a minute. This technique is going to involve a little down and dirty engineering. I'm going to lay my grate out. I'm going to put my folding stove right in the center. I'm going to fold it up like this. Fold it up like this. Gotta get that go out all the way. And then I'm going to fold it up like this. And fold it up like this. What this is going to do is this is going to basically create a tic-tac-toe board right through my grate. And I'm going to be able to use those creases to use my snips to trim off a great big plus sign. You got to be careful with these things because these little spurs are quite sharp. Now, each one of those, I'm going to use my tent stake to roll up. As soon as I've rolled it up, I'm going to slide it out. This is actually going to add strength to the grill so it don't get all floppy when it gets hot. So when we open up our stove, put it right there, we can set this right on top. This is going to allow airflow, and also it acts as spring tension to keep it in place. Now, how's that for some lickety-split engineering? Okay, in order to do the charcoal grill, I'm going to use hardwood charcoal. And just lay that inside here. You want your bigger pieces to cross over the openings. And I'm going to light this up exactly the way I light up my chimney starter at home when I use my charcoal grill. So lay these things over those openings. A few pieces going on here. Save the bigger pieces for last. And I'm going to use some of my Vaseline fire starters to initiate the fire that's going to be underneath the charcoal. Again, working just like a chimney starter you'd use for your grill at home. And it may take a couple of the fire starters to really get it going, but I'm already hearing the hardwood charcoal making the little ting sounds like it makes. It's very unique to hardwood charcoal. Charcoal briquettes do not do this. We'll go ahead and let that get lit to embers, and once it does that, I'll bring you back. As you can see, it's already started to light up pretty well. Use my pocket bellows to get her going a little more. Now, in just a couple minutes, I will be able to put the grill on top of my charcoal grill. Now the charcoal is going pretty good. I'm just going to move a couple of the pieces around so I can actually fit my grill up on top. The grill goes right on top like that. And you're ready to grill.
I didn't bring any meats to cook, so I guess I'll just have to boil the water again.
Don't know if you can hear it or not, but the water has come to a rolling boil. Those coals are nice and hot. Too bad I don't have a nice little piece of steak to put on the fire there. Cook her right up, eh? Well, folks, there you have it. Alcohol stove, twig stove, charcoal grill. All in one nice neat little package, which is also a solid fuel stove. Folks, thank you so much for watching. If you like today's video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like the channel, you like the videos I've been doing, go ahead and click subscribe. If you want to be kept up to date by all the magnificent videos that I've got coming out every week, click that notifications bell. I am incredibly blessed to do this, and I'm so happy you joined me today. Well, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.